All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus, and this video is going to be brought to you by Mini Grown. Use your promo code ONELUP to get buy one, get one free. Starting August 1st, we'll have a brand new promo code, Mini Grown. Thank you so much for sponsoring this vid. Delicious drinks, delicious gummies to get you relaxed and feeling great. So a couple days ago, we did surprise makes. Now we're doing surprise cuts for your Minnesota Vikings. This training camp is approaching here. We're just days away at this point from rookies reporting, and just a couple more days after that from veterans reporting. So surprise cuts. It happens every year. Guys we think are guaranteed to make the team get let go. And we're going to try to predict who that may be this year, what Kwesi and his staff will decide. Let's start with a guy who is just – he didn't have a horrible year last year, but the Vikings kept bringing in competition at weird parts of the season, late in the season. I think it was even prior to the playoff game. They're bringing in all these punters to compete with Ryan Wright. Ryan Wright is my first potential surprise cut. And it will be surprised. I mean, his season wasn't bad. He had 27 punts instead of 20 last year, which is like a 48 percentage, which is pretty damn high. Just sometimes, when we need him the most, he'll have a shank or he'll just get a touchback. But he has kicked the Vikings out of some bad field position at times. But the fact that they have brought in these punters, and these aren't even big name punters that they've competed against them, they've always kind of been putting pressure on Ryan Wright. So what if happens this preseason? What if Oscar Chapman, this undrafted rookie punter, punts Ryan Wright? That's how Ryan Wright made the team. He unseated, I think, was it Quigley we had at the time? I can't remember. But he was an undrafted guy, long shot, and he won the job. What if he loses his job in the same fashion? There's only one guy competing with at this point. Doesn't mean Ryan Wright beats out Oscar Chapman and is safe to make the team. They can still make a move late in the season. They've done this before after final cuts, bringing a punter. Actually, the Vikings did that 2 years in a row, but I think that was the Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman regime that did that. But still, Ryan Wright, if he's cut, it's a surprise. I don't expect it to happen, but you never know. It could happen. So he's my first one. Second one, let's go to Eric Wilson, the man making his Minnesota Vikings return here after being away from the team for 4 years, comes back to Minnesota, primarily in a special teams role. I think that's where they view him, but they also do like the veteran leadership he brings. A guy who can make some big plays, maybe isn't the best in coverage, but look what he did last year for the Packers. He had 72 tackles, 7 tackles for loss. He had an interception. He had a couple of sacks. He's late in his career. He's 30 years old as an inside linebacker. And here's why I think it'd be a surprise if he doesn't make the team. He's the backup to Ivan Pace right now, and there's not much competition. There's a 6th-round rookie, Kobe King, who's, team seems very high on. Then Brian Asamoah, who just has not figured it out in his 4th year in the league. Max Tooley, Dorian Mousey, and Austin Keys. So you have basically 3 undrafted guys, a 6th-round rookie, and then a guy who was a 3rd-round pick who hasn't figured it out. So if shockingly, a Mousey or a Keys looks great, and then they take Wilson's job, I just don't see the Brian Asamoah resurgence in year 4 that could do it. But if that happens, Eric Wilson may never get to play his final swan song with the Vikings, and he could be let go. It would certainly be shocking at this point. I think they would like to have that veteran guy who has proven it, who has had a long NFL career, but maybe he's lost a step. Maybe he doesn't look the same. And maybe one of these young guys usurps him this August. We'll see. But Eric Wilson, second guy who could be a surprise cut for your Minnesota Vikings. Let's go to the last one. I think this one is the biggest surprise, but we're all penciling this guy in. Actually, I think we're all actually using marker, putting this guy on the team for sure, because he had a great season last year. He was a surprise, a great story. Jalen Redmond, the defensive lineman, guy was the biggest long shot to make the team. He was signed I think it was June last year, a UFL guy, just one of these guys you take a shot on. And what does he do? He has a great preseason. He makes the 53, and then he actually competes, or he actually plays in 13 games, starts 2, has 18 tackles, 6 tackles for a loss, and a sack. The dude he had brought a lot of energy to the D-line. He was all over the place. But let's not just assume he's going to make the team this year. The Vikings went out. They signed 2 veterans in Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. And then you got Levi Drake Rodriguez, who was a 7th-rounder last year, was kind of babied along, put on the practice squad. He's going to compete for Redmond's job. Then you drafted Tyrion Ingram Dawkins round 6 this year. So there's competition here for Redmond's spot. If for some reason he takes a step back, he has a second-year regression, doesn't look like the same player, Maybe he just thinks he's going to get the job and isn't, busting his ass like he did last year where, job and money was on the line. Maybe he loses his spot and a guy like Levi Drake Rodriguez takes it, or maybe it's somebody like Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, the 6th-round rookie. Like maybe he makes it. So Redmond, again, really think he's going to make this team, and I really want him to. I love the guy. I love the story. I love watching him play. He doesn't really have a neck. He's just a head and helmets out there, or helmets and shoulder pads running around. But again, no lock, no guarantee. So Jalen Redmond would be a shock, but crazier things have happened. So those are my 3 surprise cuts from Minnesota Vikings. You could probably throw a couple honorable mentions on here. Rondale Moore is one. Jeff Okudah could be another one. Some of these veteran guys who maybe just might not make it. But for me, Jalen Redmond, Ryan Wright, and Eric Wilson will be your 3 biggest surprise cuts by the Vikings this August. Let me know if you have any more in the comments. Also, head over to minigrown.com. Use the promo code OneLup and get yourself buy one, get one free, and keep your skull in your hole.